Good evening, everybody. Or actually, I'm not sure what time of day you're watching this, but good day to you wherever you are. My name is Joe English. I'm one of the racing analysts on the Three Broke Guys Handicapping Show, and I'm here to do the recap for Saturday, the Travers Stakes Day card from Saratoga Springs at Saratoga Race Track in upstate New York. It's a terrific card, terrific day of racing, and we'll get to all of the six grade ones and the Boston Spa, which was a grade two, which was run after the pick six was over. Let's start with race six. It wasn't part of what we handicapped on the air, but the personal ensign turned out to be a terrific race. The top four finishers, basically within a length of each other, and paid up subscriber actually had run the best buyer speed figure that she's ever run in finishing fifth. So she really wasn't disgraced in that field, being beaten, I don't know, I guess it was 2 lengths or so. But Cavorting was a terrific winner. The pace of the race was not very fast, but Castellano sat behind, at least early. What was a nice trip was the first four. The first other four runners were outside, were battling for the lead early, which set it up nicely for Cavorting at the end. Saratoga, she's 4 for 4 there. And I would assume I'll be betting her wherever she ends up there next year, given that her form is still at least reasonably close to what it was at this point in the year, this year, when she comes back in 2017. Castellano, again, did a great job. Made sure she was relaxed and got her clear running at the end, and she was able to win. Not I want to say going away, but she did enough to win, and like I said, she ran her career best, equaling buyer speed figure of 102, and really was a terrific job. In the pre-race interview with Keaton Bradar on TVG, Dallas Stewart said he wanted to keep Fervor and Bridled out of trouble, and he got what he wanted. She was basically 3 wide throughout, 3 wide on both turns, and maybe she could have given, not want to say could have given a better account of herself, but she was definitely in the clear the whole way. And she traveled a lot. Well, I don't want to say a lot further, but she was wide both turns. So I'd give her a chance again with these next time, given a different setup and a different scenario. But overall, good race, very competitive. And Cavorting turned out to be not the favorite. She was 2-1. She was 5 almost 5-2. Second choice paid $6.90. And congratulations to Stone Street Sables, Kieran McLaughlin, and Javier Castellano for the grade 1 victory in the personal ensign in race 6 on Saturday. Race 7 was also not something we handicapped as part of the Three Broke Guys handicapping show and our pick 4, but it was the 7 furlong ballerina for 3-year-old fillies. And this one was also run, won. It was won by Have You Gone Away, a 3-year-old filly from the Tom Morley barn. Congratulations to Tom Morley for his first grade one victory. John Velasquez rode. Again, this was another horse who was out wide, kept out of trouble. And fortunately, she was. The way the race played out, Karina Mia was wandering in the stretch, and she actually looked like she was getting out around the turn. And Have You Gone Away would have been in trouble had Karina Mia continued to bear out. But Karina Mia actually did straighten herself out and allowed Have You Gone Away to get by, which allowed her to get up for the victory. By the Moon, who was the second place finisher, also ran a great race. She was on the second flight inside. Unfortunately, she got inside of Karina Mia. And she ran a very good race to be second in this spot. And again, congratulations to the connections. Tom Morley, Gary Barber, and Sequel Racing, and John Velasquez for keeping this filly in the clear, earning a 99 buyer speed figure for her efforts. So again, another good race. A few disappointing performances from Wayville Avenue and Spelling Again and Sheer Drama, who finished up the track. Not sure if there were any reasons for that. Maybe they need breaks. Maybe it was just not their day. But anyway, again, congratulations to the winner. Now we'll get to the pick four races that we handicapped, beginning with the Grade 1 Kings Bishop, the counterpart to the ballerina for 3-year-old males, sprinting on the dirt. And Dre Fong came from California to win this race pretty handily. And I think the race was over in the first quarter when Mike Smith was able to get away with having this horse on the lead, a clear lead at 20 in 23 flat, 23 and 11 100s. So I think once that happened, the race was pretty much over and they were running for second. And I give credit to the Canadian innovator, No Holding Back Bear, who was admirable in defeat. She chased Dre Fong. Economic Model just got up to beat No Holding Back Bear for second. But No Holding Back Bear was not disgraced in defeat. He chased a runaway, well, not runaway winner, chased the winner through those fast second, not the interior fractions or the later fractions in the race were faster than the first part of the race. Like I said, Dre Fong in the first quarter in 23 and 11 100s for Mike Smith. So basically, it was two new shooters from different places, from Canada and from Santa Anita. So I'm not necessarily sure that means a lot for the New York based 3-year-old sprinters. So again, we'll see how that plays out down the line. And generally, the New York horses don't necessarily run all that well in the Breeders' Cup at Santa Anita. So I'm not sure you'll see a lot of these come back or come out to Santa Anita. Maybe you might see one or two come out and run in possibly the Ancient Title at Santa Anita. I'm not sure. It used to be called the Ancient Title. Now they may have changed it. I'm not exactly sure. But Dre Fong was the winner. Owner Charles Chu, trainer Bob Baffert, and winning jockey Mike Smith, who on the lead is as tough as they come. He's as good as Eddie Delahoussaye used to be when you got them on the lead, and they would always have something left in reserve. So give Mike Smith, Bob Baffert, and Charles Chu some credit. And Dre Fong kicked off the pick four. We were alive at this point. He was the second choice at 880, and I was actually kind of surprised that Mo Heyman went favored. And Mo Heyman is obviously not the same since he got beat by Nyquist, and he just he's not running to the level that he was running prior to that race. So it's funny how that build up. I'm not sure exactly what that meant with the build up when Mo Heyman faced Nyquist in the Florida Derby, and Nyquist happened to beat him pretty handily. Mo Heyman doesn't seem to have been the same horse since. We'll see where he ends up next. Maybe he needs a little drop in company. Maybe he needs a break. I'm not sure. Maybe something else. So like I said, some time off. Maybe look for a 4-year-old campaign next year. And we'll see what becomes of Mo Heyman down the line. And maybe they'll even retire him. I've seen them retire 3-year-olds who've done a lot less. So we'll see what happens to Mo Heyman down the line. The ninth race was the Priority 1 Jets Forgo, also a Grade 1, also run at 7 furlongs. So there were 3 consecutive 7 furlong races run on Saturday. And the winner was another clear winner, AP Indian, who, again, is another undefeated 4-for-4 Colt, 4-for-4 at Saratoga, undefeated at 7 furlongs, undefeated with Joe Bravo, and undefeated in 2016. And basically, he matched his buyer speed figure from his last effort at Saratoga. So he's run 2 107 buyer speed figures, and nobody else in this race. Actually, Catalina Red had run a 105 at Churchill Downs a few races back. But other than that, nobody's run anything faster than a 102. But he was clear on the lead. Actually, he was outside a pace setter earlier. I guess that would be Chief Lion. He was outside of Chief Lion early. He put that one away and pretty much drew away as he wanted. The scratch of marking changed the betting dynamics in that race. And he was down markedly from his morning line. He went off at even money. He was 3-5 for most of the betting, so he drifted up, obviously, when the late money kicked in. But he won fairly easily. And the Breeders' Cup Sprint looks to be a pretty interesting race now. If they decide to run happy AP Indian, Masochistic, who beat two rivals in a stake at Santa Anita this past weekend. And there was one other sprinter, and I can't remember who it was. Oh, Lord Nelson from the Baffert barn. Maybe he's better at 7. Maybe he's better at 6. Maybe he's good enough at 6. But the dynamic would be interesting because it looks like Lord Nelson could be more of a come from behinder, even though he's been close to the pace in other races earlier in his career. Masochistic wants to be on the engine, and AP Indian and Run Happy would probably be sitting behind Masochistic. And trainer Ron Ellis said he's running Masochistic in the Breeders' Cup, and I believe there's a chance he's going to train up to the race. So we've probably seen the last of him until the Breeders' Cup. But anyway, congratulations to the connections of AP Indian, Green Lantern Stables, trainer Arnaud Delacour, and jockey Joe Bravo for the Grade 1 win in the Priority 1 Jets Forgo Stakes run at Saratoga on Saturday. Race 10, race 10 was the Longines Sword Dancer. Make sure I got to get the sponsor's name in. The Sword Dancer run at 12 furlongs on the Saratoga Inner Turf Course. And this was about the most lopsided race I've seen in quite some time as far as the betting standpoint, and from the overpowering nature in which there was one horse, Flincher, who pretty much looked to dominate this field. There was nobody in his class, and I'm not sure if it's just media speculation or if it's really fact that the other Juddmonte runner, Inordinate, set a ridiculously fast pace for a mile and a half, 23 and change, 23:18, 46:16, and 111.04 for the first 6 furlongs. Going a mile and a half, that amounts to a suicide mission. That's something Shining Copper would do, or something some rank horse who probably had no business being in the race would do. And that's what happened in this race. And it was quite amusing to watch Flincher go up the rail and figure, well, that had happened to Flincher last time. But in this case, since the horse was a Juddmonte horse, and Aaron Greider, my guess was given instructions, he was on the rail when the turn came, and the far turn came, and Flincher was down on the inside. You could actually see Aaron Greider look over to see who was coming, and basically he just let Flincher go inside of him. So it was almost like a tag team effort, and it's really sad because I'm not really sure Flincher needed all that much help. My guess is he could have just run around the other horses in this race and probably won just as easily. Maybe Money Multiplier, another Chad Brown runner, would have given him more of a fight. But either way, it was comical to watch, at least from my perspective. And it's something I'm not sure I've ever seen before. But anyway, Flincher was dominant. He won again. Buyer speed figure of 112. If the race was run now, if the race is run a month from now, or when the race is run in the Breeders' Cup, you're going to need to see some more Euro power before somebody tells me that Flincher's not going to win the race in a mile and a half at Santa Anita. He's just better than the American horses. It's pretty obvious that he's much better than the American horses. And again, unless we see something from Europe come across the pond that can battle with Flincher, he's a pick 6, pick 4, pick 5, pick everything single in that Breeders' Cup turf. I don't care if they run 12, 13, 14. They could run a 30-horse field. I think he would still find a way to win. But anyway, it was a dominating performance. He went off at 20 cents to the dollar, and it was pretty amazing to make 20% on your money in 2 minutes and 23 seconds. It's better than any interest rate in any bank you'll get right now. So, I mean, I obviously didn't go out and do anything like that, but I couldn't have blamed anybody had they done so. So again, we were alive in our pick 4 at this point through Flincher. The pick 4s were actually pretty reasonable when you think about what had happened. Joy Fong was a 3-1 second choice. AP Indian was an even money winner, and Flincher was 1-5. So, considering all things considered, the pick 4s were actually generous. They were all paying over 100 for each one of our selections. We had gone 4 deep with the 4, 7, 8, and 9 in the Travers. And obviously we were not expecting what happened. And I don't know that anybody, maybe even outside of Bob Baffert, and I'm not even sure Bob Baffert could have expected what Arrogate was going to do. He was, in a word, fantastic. The word wow. I mean, it's funny. It's not a word; it's an expression. But he was all that in the bag of chips. I had previously said that I didn't think there was anybody on the planet who could beat California Chrome on dirt going 1.25 miles. After this race, I'm not so sure that Mr. Baffert expect. Like I said, I know he didn't expect anything like that to run the fastest Travers in the history of the race, to blow a field away like that by 13 lengths, 13.25 as it turned out was the final margin of victory. And to look at the times in the racing form, if you look at the formulator, you can see the incremental chart, the incremental pace chart, and you see how fast they ran each individual quarter. And Arrogate ran the last quarter of the 1.25 Travers, the last 2 furlongs of the 10 furlong Travers, in 23.84 seconds, I believe. I'm going to check that right now. Yes, 23.84 seconds. And that was nearly 2 seconds faster than the runner-up, American Freedom, who ran basically the second fastest. Actually, he and Gunrunner and Governor Malibu all ran the last quarter of the Travers in 25.80. So he ran the last quarter of a 10 furlong race 2 seconds faster than anybody else had run in the race. Like I said, it was just an eye-popping performance. And going back to California Chrome, maybe there is somebody who can beat him. Now, the speed figure that was earned was 122, which is on par with Frosted's 123 that he earned when he ran in the Metropolitan Mile back on Belmont Stakes Day. Now, I'm not sure. Generally, you don't accept the horse's figure when they only run it once. I want to see if he runs it again, he will beat California Chrome, because California Chrome's best figures are in the 115 range. And he'll be getting probably a pound, maybe 2 pounds from California Chrome in the Breeders' Cup Classic. I'm fairly certain the 3-year-olds do get a small weight break in November, and usually it's either a pound or 2. So that might help Arrogate the draw. I mean, I'm not sure what conditions would have to happen for him to make up for this, make up the difference between him and California Chrome. Again, I'm not sure that there is much difference. He was just that good in this race. He loved Saratoga. Obviously, Mike Smith agrees with him. He loved the 1.25 miles, so that's not an issue. I guess the only question now is I would assume he's going to train up to the race. I don't think he needs to run any more races in between. I was fairly certain that Baffert had said he was going to train up to the Breeders' Cup Classic. But now it seems like we may actually have a race, and it may actually be 3-horse race. It was California Chrome who was smashing in the Pacific Classic 2 weeks ago. Last weekend, obviously, Arrogate ran a huge race. I mean, he just jumped out of his skin. That was his best speed figure by 19 points. So we're going to have to see him repeat that before we believe he's a super horse. But he did that this week. And I guess this coming week, it's Frosted's turn in the Whitney at Saratoga, a race we will be handicapping on the Three Broke Guys Handicapping webcast this coming week. I believe it's Friday. I'm not sure of the time yet. Normally our time is 9 o'clock. We'll let you know. We'll work that out. But I'm sure most people aren't watching it live, and they watch it at their convenience. So we'll have it ready for you on Saturday morning for sure. I just wanted to mention also, I think Exaggerator may need a break. I'm kind of hoping that they if they want to retire him, I completely understand. But if they want to appoint him for a 4-year-old campaign, I think that would probably be a prudent move right now. Again, this is only my opinion. He's been battling ever since December or January. I can't remember exactly when he debuted. He might have even been February, but he's been running once a month since then. So this would be about the 7th month, or maybe the 8th. This might be the 8th race of the year for Exaggerator, and I'm kind of wondering if he doesn't need a little bit of a break, and unless the rain gods are with him, I don't think he could beat Arrogate or California Chrome or even Frosted on Breeders' Cup Classic Day. So maybe either they try a different race or they give him a break, or I guess it's also possible that they retire Exaggerator. He's been a warrior, but like I said, unless a rain dance happens to be effective, I don't think he's in their classes at least at this point in the year. So unfortunately, we did not hit our pick 4 this week. It happens. We were basically 7 in a row until that race, and again, Arrogate was dominant. And as I texted my fellow Three Broke Guys members, I said Bob Baffert is shaking his head and saying, "I told you so." At least the bobblehead on Rich's desk probably is. He may still be shaking his head, but it was just a wonderful performance, and I got to give them credit. Let me give the owner and the owner, I guess. It says trainer Bob Baffert, and the jockey was obviously Mike Smith. I'm not sure who the owner is at this point, and that is bad on my part. Let me see if I have the other. Actually, I do have it. Hang on a second. At least I thought I had it. Oh, I'm sorry. Juddmont Farms is the winning owner. So actually, that would be 2, wouldn't it? Yes, they won back to back. Flincher in the Sword Dancer, and Arrogate in the Travers, which again was a command performance, and he just ran out of his skin. And hopefully he makes it to face California Chrome in the Breeders' Cup Classic in the first weekend in November. And finally, the last stakes race was a Grade 2, the Woodford Reserve Ballston Spa, and featured the return of probably one of the sentimental favorites on the day, and that would be Lady Eli. Anybody who knows Lady Eli's story, she almost died battling a disease. I believe it was last year, and actually she survived and she made it through, and she actually was able to make it back to the races, and she actually ran a heck of a race. She finished second to Strike Charmer, a long shot, trained by Mark Hennig for Cortland Farms, and ridden by, oh boy, that's bad. I don't even have the jockey's name for that race. Okay, there it was. It was Junior Alvarado. My apologies, Junior. Strike Charmer basically just sat and looped the field and was able to get up because the pace of the race was pretty swift. 22 and 2, 45 and 2, 109 flat for the mile and a 16th, and they came home in less than 6 seconds. The final time was 138 and 3, so the turf was very fast that day. And Lady Eli ran a game second, lost by about a length to Strike Charmer. Lady Eli ran her best buyer speed figure. She ran a 101. She just happened to get beat by Strike Charmer, who ran a 102. I'm not sure exactly what happened to Miss Temple City, and maybe Miss Temple City is still trying to recover from the Maker's Mile win at Keeneland. She ran a 108 buyer that day, and the buyers are regressing. She was at 97 this time. She did have a little problem in the stretch. I don't think it would have made any difference in the race, and the buyer speed figure might have improved by a point or so. But I'm not sure is exactly what she was, obviously, that day at Keeneland. But again, Lady Eli ran a hell of a race to finish second. So she's now 6 of 7 lifetime with 1 second. Who knows where she ends up? Maybe she'll end up in the Breeders' Cup. Maybe they'll be a little bit less ambitious and they'll try to keep her around for a little bit longer. Maybe point her for a 5-year-old campaign next year. So that'll wrap up this recap of the Three Broke Guys Handicapping Show. Once again, this coming week, we will be attacking the Saratoga Pick 4. They are running the Spinaway and the Woodward this weekend, along with 2 other stakes races. Stay tuned. Follow Three Broke Guys Handicapping on Twitter. We will let you know which stakes, if any, are part of the Pick 4. I would assume they would try to put them, as many of them as possible, in the Pick 4. But until they really draw the entries tomorrow, it's really kind of tough to say. There are some good races hopefully coming at Saratoga. And the weekend after that, we're actually going to a place that we have never been to. And on September 10th, we are going to handicap the Kentucky Downs card, which is basically all turf racing. And it's a place that Rich has handicapped for, but I don't believe I've ever handicapped a race from Kentucky Downs. I might have done one, but if I did, I don't remember it very well. So anyway, again, follow us on Twitter at Three Broke Guys. We're at Three Broke Guys Handicapping. My own individual Twitter user handle is Joe English 16. But we will be back with our Friday podcast this week, and we will hope to see you then. And hopefully, we will pick some more winners for you, and we can help you get your Pick 4 and hit that Pick 4 at Saratoga on Saturday, late afternoon on the East Coast and early afternoon out here in the West. So for Rich and Ray, my name's Joe. I hope you have a wonderful day, remainder of it, wherever you happen to be. And we'll see you soon next time on Three Broke Guys Handicapping. Goodbye for now.